So welcome to today's meditation time. Wherever you are, wherever your physical location is, whatever state that your body is in right now, I invite you to just arrive. Just really allow yourself with this next breath coming in to just say, I'm here. I'm here in this present moment, no matter where I physically am, no matter how I physically feel. This present moment is here, and I have arrived. And as you offer that to yourself, you can close your eyes if that feels right. You can just find a soft gaze, just whatever would support you in your practice. And then let's just join our energy together for a few breaths. So a slow, deep breath in, and a slow breath out. And a gentle breath in, and a gentle breath out. And just allow yourself to settle. Also allow yourself to adjust if that becomes necessary. Just really stay in touch with yourself each moment as it comes. And so our inspiration for these few minutes that we have together is, of course, from the Yoga Sutras. We are in this chapter 3, settling around verse 36, when the author, this incredibly wise Patanjali from so long ago, seemed to be able to say exactly what we need in this contemporary age where we live. And what he said is, if you want to get to know the real, true you, you've got to come from a place of stillness. And we read that or we hear that and we think, well, of course we want to get to the true essence of us, and of course we want stillness. But the big question is always, how? It's not a question of do we want it. We want to see the true alignment with who we are. In Sanskrit, we call that Purusha. We want to see us. Not this distorted view that we present to the world, or even the distorted way that the world sees us. We all want the true essence of us to shine through. And we all want stillness. And so what he says is the way to do this, because this is the chapter on accomplishments, the way he says to accomplish it is to come at every part of your life from a sattvic way of being. Sattvic, this beautiful way of being still, even, steady. And again, we want it, but the idea is, how do we achieve that in this overwhelming, busy, changing world that we live in? Because all of us are surrounded, as was he 2,500 years ago, all of us are surrounded by stimuli. There's distractions, there's things that alert our senses, there's things that we feel, there's things that trigger a memory. There are constantly this bombardment of just stimuli. And what we know about these stimuli is the same one could come to me and come to you, and we would react differently. And so in the moment that that stimulus occurs, it's neutral, it's benign. But then based on how I receive it, the meaning that I attach to it, the things that I feel, all of a sudden it gets a name or a label. It creates a little pathway in our mind. And what he says is when these things come in and your memory is alerted, or your feelings come to life, or your heart begins to pound, or your jaw gets tight, you have a choice in how you respond to those stimuli. And if you really want to see the true essence of you every single day, on a consistent, regular basis, if you really want to experience stillness every single day, you've got to approach those stimuli from a place of sattva, But what most of us do is we do the two opposites of that. And he teaches us all the way through the Yoga Sutras about these things called the gunas. And he said most of us respond one of two ways when stimulus comes in. We want to get in there and fight. We want to fix something. We want to react. We want to assert our energy. But he says we call that being rajasic, and that is not the way to find stillness. That is not the way to see the essence of who you really are. All that does is disrupt this beautiful, compassionate flow of energy. And he said the other side of that is we do nothing. In fact, maybe we hide away when the stimulus comes because we don't want to deal with it. We want to just avoid it. And he said in Sanskrit we call that tamasic, and that is no better than asserting your energy in a really aggressive way. Because again, you're disrupting this beautiful, compassionate flow by doing nothing. So then what do? Do we act or do we not? And what he said is, I need you to just be. I need you to just be. Something happens in your world. Someone says something. Someone acts a certain way. And in the moment that that thing occurs, it's kind of neutral until your emotions become aroused or until your senses get alerted. And then all of a sudden it's not neutral anymore. You feel something. You're distracted. You're frustrated. You're remembering things. And he said all of those are normal. Feel what comes in that immediate first breath when the stimulus comes. And then just be. And we think in our modern day world how impossible that sounds. It must have been so easy 2,500 years ago when there was no social media and there was no technology and the world was not changing, but yet it was changing. And there were distractions. And there were behaviors of people that felt misaligned. And there were things that caused feelings to be aroused, to be remembered. And so he was telling us even then, if you really want to feel and see and know the essence of who you are, this Purusha, this alignment to this divine force in this world, then the only way that is going to happen is if you approach life from a sattvic way of being. You have to learn to just be. And so I want to just pause here for just a few breaths and just kind of let that sit with each of us. What would that look like in your life to just be? What do you see? What do you imagine? For some of us, I included, when I hear things like just be, it sounds to me like non-action. It sounds like that thing he was describing of someone who just hides away and avoids the world. But it's not the same. Learning to live within this busy world, within the constant projection of people's opinions and needs and wants and desires, some that align with your own and some that very much do not. The only way for us to maintain stillness, for us to understand and know the true us, is to be around those things and just be. It doesn't make us indifferent, and it really doesn't even make us quiet, meaning that we don't speak. It makes us unaffected by what's going on around us. And again, we think, this must have been so easy 2,500 years ago when he wrote this. Or even 1,000 years ago when someone read the Sutra. Or even 10 years ago when it was taught. They just don't quite understand what it's like to be in 2025 with all of this stuff around us. But each generation, each timeline in humanity, they all have their things. And they all were told the same message. I need you to just be. And so we're going to pause here for the next couple of minutes of quiet and practice just being. And the way I would invite you to do that is when you hear a sound, maybe it's in the hallway outside the room where you are, maybe it's, if there's a fur baby in the room with you, maybe they move a little bit and you hear it. Maybe you feel a sensation of the air around you. Maybe your mind goes to some list that you need to take care of as soon as you're done here and you don't want to forget. Maybe your knee starts to get a little creaky and then you start to kind of complain. And I could go on and on with all the examples, but those things are going to happen in these next couple of minutes of quiet. And what I would challenge us to do and invite us to do is practice just being. The neighbor drives up and makes a lot of noise in their car. Just be. There's someone out in the hallway disrupting your moment of beautiful meditation. Just be. Your stomach begins to gurgle and growl because you realize that you're hungry. Just be. Or you remember the argument that you had with someone earlier, and you're replaying it in your head instead of sitting in meditation. And I would tell you, try to just be. So when these things begin to come across these couple of minutes, let's practice sattva. Just being. One breath, one gentle moment at a time. Begin to bring gentle awareness back to this next breath coming in. And then watch it gently leave. And as we prepare to close this time together, I encourage you just make note of what you noticed. It's not a list. It's not a pro and a con, and I did this right and I did this wrong. It is just a noticing. Almost like there's this internal journal in your head, and it just made a note of the neighbor drove up and their car was noisy, and I'm just being. Or the dog was trying to get my attention, and I laid my hand on his head and decided that I would just be. Those are the ways that we begin to notice. We begin to just really sharpen our awareness. And when we do it here on the cushion, metaphorically or physically, when we do it here in meditation, it allows us to do it out there. Until all of a sudden, you look up and the same stimulus that just a few weeks ago would have sent you over the edge has come again, and you didn't move. Your beautiful, gentle flow of energy was unaffected. Your stillness was maintained. And I don't say this as a wish for something that we're all trying to experience. I say this because it is real. And so I encourage all of us, practice just being. And when you do react, just let it go. No judgment, no evaluation, no criticism. Because the next stimulus is just around the corner, and you're going to have another chance to just be. One breath, one moment at a time. Namaste.